news, prominent news during the week, and it's Reporters Lounge, and we have a lot lined up this morning talking about security, talking about one thing that we've been talking about it beyond politics now. We talk about political race ahead of 2027 election. We will look into something salient in that area, and security, definitely. State police bill and the state police plan is still in the news, and we will be looking at that, and we will also be looking at what is also politics, not at the national, not at the level of the federal government of state. We will also look as it concerns a particular association, which is the legal association in Nigeria. We will also look at the controversy that trails the election, and these are major things we will be looking at this morning. And as usual in the studio, I have two gentlemen, highly resourceful gentlemen of the press in the studio. Dara Adebimpe is here, always here, and is here again this morning. Welcome to the show.
It's always my pleasure to be here, and we thank viewers for tuning in.
All right, I have in the studio, I was always happy to have him in the studio, and when we have him, you know that the depth is always, very there, and you will definitely enjoy from what it brings into the analysis, from, the genesis to the revelation of some of these matters. It takes us deeply into it. Emmanuel, okay, it's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. It's indeed an honor to be here.
All right, let's kickstart. President Tinubu approves expansion of the Nigerian Army to 12 divisions, and looking at it, 12 new divisions for the Nigerian Army, and also recruitment of 28,000 personnel. And President Bola Tinubu, let me read a short part of that story. Has approved the expansion of the Nigerian Army from 8 to 12 divisions and the recruitment of 28,000 additional personnel to strengthen the country's security architecture. The move, according to the presidency, is aimed at improving the operational effectiveness of the army and enhancing its capacity to respond to Nigeria's evolving security challenges. Now, let me start with Dara. Now, 28,000 new personnel, expansion of the division for the Nigerian army. How well can this, also complement in, whatever security, issue that we are currently battling with? Do you think this would, be a kind of ease the pressure on the Nigerian army at this particular moment?
Yes, even though modern warfare today is never fought on the boots on the ground, it is needful for us in Nigeria to increase the number of the foot on the ground. Why? Because, number one, the number of our military men is so short when you make comparison with the population of Nigeria. We are over 250 million, about, allegedly. And we have not up to 400,000. The same thing with the police in charge of security. And this had been what President Tinubu has simply done, is what the army or the security had lacked over the years. By expanding the divisions of the Nigerian army, it has increased strengthened the security architecture of the country. It has helped to, reduce the level of response to any security breach, given the nature of logistics, of arrangement, of boots on the ground, and of course, it only makes easier contact, because when you look at those formations that are now included, 4 formations to be sincere. The 4 are located in Makurdi, Ilorin, Jalingo, and Benin. And when you look at it, I try to look at all the divisions. I find out that the lists of each of these divisions where they are located are catering for 2 states, the list, and the maximum is about 4 states, which is good enough to build up a better security architecture that we have. Again, looking at the scenario of the fact that the country is trying to transform its security architecture from what it has been over the years. You know, yesterday the House of Rep passed the bill on state police. You know the effect this one we also have on what is on ground. But be that as it may, like I enunciated in the beginning, that it is not the amount of foot on the ground. Warfare is simply fought by technology these days. We need to increase the intensity of our finances or funding on technology to better the lots of our people and keep the army as it were, not just the foot on the ground, but give them the necessary equipment that will make them not vulnerable to the ragtag bandits that we seem to have, given the nature of the quality of training that our members of the Nigerian Army or any of the security agencies have had, both within the country and outside the country. And you and I will recall, each time Nigeria had gone outside to participate in multilateral security agencies, say for instance the United Nations, Nigeria had always been commended, even the police as well. So where should we have this sort of thing? But when you look at the breakdown of law and order in the Sahelian region, with the ISWAP and the Libyan breakdown of law and order, and the Somali war, you will know that the burden is largely getting too much on Nigeria, with about 2,000 kilometers of border within the J Republic alone. So what he has done is a welcome decision. They need to, concretize this. I learned that they will be done in phases. One will be about 2 of it will be completed in September, another one in 26th of December. But I know that this 28,000 recruitment is not enough, so to say. But we have to start somewhere.
Well, Emmanuel, we have to start somewhere. 28,000, 12 new divisions, and looking at it in terms of tech, fighting this insecurity tech-wise. Will you say this is a way to go now to complement whatever divisions we have now, expansion with the 28,000 personnel, and also the fact that we are buying fighter jets and more? Will you say that now you are very, very optimistic that this insecurity challenges will be over with what we are having, or with this new announcement?
It doesn't work like rocket science. There are some parts of the arrangement that I'm very elated with, particularly the hiring of 28,000 more. They have been questioning why 28,000 and why not the round figure. Why not 30,000 or why not 50,000? I recall
it seems Nigerians these days, you don't forget that before now, some state government need to really persuade or talk to the young Nigerians.
That's a different kettle of fish. We'll come back to that.
That one will be sorted out when they get to the level of...
The Southwest and the Southeast have the lowest level of enrollment.
Yes.
They
are even begging us in our states to join.
Yes. As a matter of fact, you find most of the slots used by people who are not really indigenous, but then just residents in the state. We are discouraging the issue of indigenship and pushing more of what pan-Nigerianism, so I don't think we should be dwelling so much on that. However, there are some serious considerations or a little bit of reservations I have. Now, these places already, you don't find any state in Nigeria that does not have a kind of military installation, be it forward operating base or a kind of mini cantonment or camp. So dividing further, maybe it will provide more, but I'm not really optimistic around the cover it will provide, in the sense that every of these places already have military operating there. For instance, the closest to us is newly formed division in Kwara. What the Uniform Division in Kwara will do, I'm not sure that the army is not currently doing, because they are doing in Kwara. There's Operation Fasanyama, there's Operation Savannah Shield rather, operating in Kwara, Kogi, and Kome in the forest. And so because in the final analysis, you now have more heads, meaning it's a bigger budget for administration of these divisions. However, it is an adaptive mode to the mood of the country as we speak on insecurity today. I say that because it's naturally, if not for the spate of killings and attacks and banditry, terrorism, we would have no need for this basis. Don't forget that world over, people are now tending towards the demilitarization of democracies, where military or soldiers are confined to barracks. For one, it's even a slap that an internal aggression, or if a group of people is being addressed by the armed forces, typically is what the police should be fighting. It's what the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense should be fighting, because all of these things are still internal aggressions. They are still internal issues, except for extreme cases of terrorism. You won't find the US Army or the British Army interfering in local issues or issues of criminality, if we treat them as pure criminality, that they are. So, but at the same time, there's a need to swell the rank and not the file. So what we're swelling now is swelling the rank and file at the same time. We already have all these divisions. I think they are enough. What we should rather do is to hire 50,000 or even more soldiers. Let them operate in various places. And what we should be paying so much attention to is the use of technology in fighting this criminality. Yes, manpower needed. The Nigerian Army today is estimated around 100,000, which is so low.
To the 250,
yes,
about
instead of
250,
doing bases or doing divisions further, my opinion, I think we should be procuring drones, procuring thermal imagery, procuring satellites that help us track, going towards a more technological approach to fighting security. Just my little reservation on it. It's a good thing, but sometimes it also raises some question marks. There are two truths that can coexist. For instance, on one hand, we're pushing state police. We're calling for the decentralization of policing, and we are still further decentralizing our army at the same time. Before you know it, if we are not careful, at this rate, one day we'll become over-policed in Nigeria.
We will go to, I have a question in that area, but because it also affects state police, which we will also still look into this in this course of the program. I will reserve that to that time. Well, let's go to the next one, death sentence for convicted Ansaro terrorist. And this issue is quite interesting, because the court over the week sentenced them to life imprisonment, but the DSS is saying that they are going to appeal the life sentence, and they are seeking the maximum penalty, which is death sentence. And looking at it, the courts in Nigeria, and even beyond the court, I think the belief is that you don't want to take a soul, and the DSS is saying no. Or the court is just because maybe the court is also thinking that a lot of cases of not issuing death warrants by governors is also maybe part of why let them go, let them serve that life imprisonment. And some people are saying that this is the basis why these people will still go and attack and have basis to negotiate, because they want their officers, they want their boys back. Now, looking at all this, death sentence or life imprisonment for this convicted terrorist?
Well, I'm not a jurist, neither I am in the legal profession. I can only interpret within my line of thought. I think what Justice Salih Ibrahim has simply done, maybe considering the sweetness with these abductors or those who are brought before him, had pleaded guilty to what was brought before them, maybe that one touched him in such a way that he had to be lenient. But then again, we must know that all the cases that have been taken against these three people have not been fully judged on by the court. There are some cases they will still have to answer for. It's just a first phase of the case. But when you look at it again, they are talking about complicit. It's just that maybe people don't understand the fact that these people were only charged for concealment. They were not the real culprit, so to say, but then what the law says must be done. Again, people are angry because when I see some comments made concerning the judgment, people are saying, those people were people not beheaded, were people not killed, those people that have been killing people. Everybody, even they will tell you that the religious books, the holy books, also point to the fact that if you kill a person, you shall also be killed. You know, but be that as it may, like I said, their cases have not been fully rested. Even though DSS is justified to say they are looking for a full-length penalty on them, that it should not just be a leniency. Again, when you look at it, a day will come, one government will just say presidential pardon for them. Once you are saying life imprisonment. Secondly, who pays? Is it not the taxpayers that they will be using even to feed them for the long years they will stay? Have we justified the consequence of what they have done for the society and the family affected, or the state? So those are the questions that are begging for answers, and that is why I think, number one, DSS is saying they will plead against this case. They are looking for, because that I think is part of what the law says, whether you are taking part directly, or you are aiding, or you are concealing. You should just go for the consequence, and that's why they are going for it. But like I said, they still have a number of cases, maybe one or two, yet to be answered, which means they have not finally decided their case. It's just a phase of their cases brought before against them.
All right, Emmanuel, looking at this matter, some points have been raised, whether you are aiding, whether you are, abetting, what should be the judgment here. Nigerians are still waiting for, judgment on many of these, abductors, whether directly or indirectly. Now, the case of issue of life imprisonment. Now, some people are saying even the DSS, are not so particular okay with that life imprisonment, because what some are saying is that it means that they can come back and negotiate when they capture some Nigerians and call that they want their boys back. Now, looking at all this, will you also subscribe to the idea of let there be death sentence or let there be life imprisonment? So far, it has been, the court is convinced that this person directly or indirectly took part in, the abduction of people and, killing or whatever.
Now, most times people tend to mistake some of these issues of clemency. You rarely find instances where clemency, and I mean the legal clemency, not pardon, that is given by, not political pardon. The legal clemency given by attorneys generals and state governors are not given to criminals who are tried by federal agencies. They are state offenses and the ones who are being tried by the state judiciary. For instance, somebody taking or facing terror charge that is brought forward against the person by the DSS, for instance, or the federal government of Nigeria, will under no legal framework get a clemency from a state governor. However, that is one. There's also the pragmatic approach of judges nowadays when it comes to judgment. Most of them sit down to question, and it happens to even the best of them, in the sense that if you have to decide the fate of somebody, you want to ensure that you have done it properly. When the case of Jesus Christ was brought before Pontius Pilate, he knew that he gave a terrible judgment. That is why he had to take water to wash his own hands off. So the judges in Nigeria, they know the level of shady persecution brought before them. They know that in some instances, the way prosecution is done in Nigeria does not align with global standards. That is why, one, they are reluctant to give the maximum sentence, which is death. They would rather say, stay in life, stay in prison for life. Then the second thing is this. I want to salute the judge because in the midst of emotions, he's still trying to hold on. Whether we like it or not, these criminals still have the right to appeal this up onto the Supreme Court. It is not my doing, it is not our doing, and we cannot be emotional about it. Have they committed crime? Yes. Have they confessed to it? Yes. But still does not take away their rights. Then the second thing is, our major problem in Nigeria is that we are shying away from what the judicial system is tending toward. The judicial system is caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. The devil of serving as a deterrent to others, and the deep blue sea of the new modern ideal of rehabilitation. Now, because in the Nigerian context, our leaders have now abused the whole essence of rehabilitation, of repentancy and clemency. That is why we now treat these key concepts under law with disregard. I was privileged to do an alternative dispute resolution course, and these things are key foundations that must be embedded in any legal system. So that is why the judges and even governors are also reluctant to sign the maximum death penalty sentence. Now, for clarity, the three people involved in this case were the main reason why the Oriire kidnap occurred. They were not the ones who perpetrated. They were the ones in custody, and their case had been on before now. I guess their accomplices outside knew that sentencing was drawing close. That was why they had to do that to force the hand of government. Yes, the hand of government was forced, but thank God we did not yield. These are kind of cases that should be sealed forever, and no kind of clemency, no kind of review or judicial review should ever happen to their cases. If you sit the judge down, there's a chance that he has seen some loopholes. Sometimes the judge will tell you, in the face of the law, you are going free, but God will judge you. I've heard that before from a judge, because he knows that there's been because something is wrong in the judgment. So these are the issues. However, the DSS is also right within their rights. The DSS can appeal, but sometimes you now question, you have won a case because the DSS won that case. Why are you appealing? To serve as deterrents, of course, to others. But in the process of serving as deterrents, don't stretch yourself too thin. Concentrate on some other cases. Ensure that these ones never get any kind of review. Ensure that a jailbreak never happens where these ones will be free again, and they will be behind custody for life. Because the idea, whether you like it or not, in places where these things are practiced, a life imprisonment is as good as death sentence, because the main aim has been served. You are no longer in circulation to perpetrate that crime again. And the second aim is giving you an extra lease of life, which is what judicial systems are about now. So we need to find a balance between the two.
Yeah, definitely we need to find a balance. And just like I mentioned, the fear of some Nigerians is that having them in there could mean that the abductors, some of their people outside.
That's what our leaders brought that upon us.
We will still have something to negotiate, on and ask that they should be released before they. But we hope that we can find a right balance, around this.
Let me quickly add something. As notorious as Simon Epa was, he was given only 6 years in Finland because they trust their judicial system. That one is either he's coming out a refined man, or two, is out of circulation, and all those means the chains have been broken. They said after the judgment that they are not done. They're still going after his accomplices, and that's what they're probably doing and building cases now. So that's the issue.
Well, let's go to the third one for the day. House of Representatives passes state police bill, and under this bill, state police bill bars governors from controlling police commissions, introduces direct funding. And bill removes president, governors from National Peace Council, and also bars automatic conversion of vigilante groups. And during this, there was we had the alteration. It's the alteration bill seeking to establish state police. Many opposition lawmakers actually staged a walkout during the this debate and on the bill, and is in protest of what they could describe as a breach of parliamentary procedure. They were expecting that part of the bill would be read, I think, clause by clause, and that did not happen. But looking at it, but the overall and the beauty of this is that we have a passage, and the state police bill is still enjoying accelerated growth. But looking at some of this, the germane part of this bill, ban governors from controlling police commission, introduces direct funding, and removing governors, president from National Peace Council. And also, let's talk about that, because we'll still talk about, because some people are already saying that we should have this, some of the state have already domesticated, they have their security, agencies or whatever, and they should just, give, with this legal framework, many of these Amotekun and, but the Assembly is saying, the National Assembly or House of Assembly, House of Representatives is saying that no, there should not be an automatic conversion. But looking at this from the first and the second, do you think is a right? This will help state governors not to be have total control of the state police. That has always been the fear, and with this, do you think it will eliminate this fear?
Well, thank God this is not the end of the passage of the bill. It's still going to the Senate joint National Assembly meeting upon it before it is passed, and even after the passage, it still requires the domestication or the passage by not less than 24 state National Assembly to be fully accepted as an act of Parliament. However, if the syndrome of I am in charge factor, because I don't want to see it as a Nigerian factor, is not removed from what we see in some institutions of governance in this country, we might still have the fears that are being expressed, even in this passage of this bill, that there could be abuse and what have you. For instance, appointment of judges. The state judiciary will recommend maybe about 3 judges to governor to pass to the Judicial Council. I think the lawyer in the House will help me correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm not a lawyer.
a lawyer remember you. They will recommend 3 through the Nigerian Judicial Council for one person to be approved. But we have found out that there are situations, some governors, we have seen it, even those who are still gladiators today, they practice it while they were governors in their respect. I don't want to mention names. When a particular judge was not even allowed to step into the shoes of becoming the chief judge, or even they did not tolerate whoever the Judicial Council has approved. Those are the things you see. Removing the president from having influence, removing the governor from having influence, we only have effect if we remove our self-interest, I am in charge interest. If you remove it totally, there is no system that does not have its weaknesses and benefits. But the players are the ones that are the part determining how effective it will be. What are we saying concerning state police? Something that we have had before, even community policing. We have had even all these vigilantes that we are talking about. Are they not community? Are they not doing community policing? And in some well-established crime, say for US, you still have state police, you have the sheriffs, you have the community. What are we saying? The level of policing is not something that only those you claim they are in uniforms representing the state are the one really in charge. Each community is responsible for her policing of its environment. But when it is not done, that is where you see laxity. And as we tell, how many police we have in this country? That we say, okay, state policing, if they don't do it, I mean, we don't need it, there will be breach. Let me tell you, whatever system you put in place in Nigeria, if that I am in charge syndrome is not removed, we will never have a foolproof system. Look at how many years have they passed in independence of financial autonomy of the judiciary. How many years, okay, when the local government, they ought to be financial autonomy for them. When the present regime came, the president of Tinubu, when he came, he signed an executive deal. The same thing that Buhari did in his time, it didn't work. Then they have passed the financial autonomy of local government. How many local governments are really autonomous as we speak today financially? So it is those who are running that system, and that is the bane of the Nigerian state. Until we all rise and say we want our systems to work, no institution will work out of itself in Nigeria today. Look at the issue that is now taking over the public service at the federal level today concerning the scam, the Presidential Foreign Investment Promotion Council. Look at all those who are involved, those officers that have been affected, so to say, where those document or correspondences pass through. It's a reflection of how we hold our institutions. Some of these things could have been spotted if we hold firmly to what is the norm. Come and support me, Monsieur. Come and love me, so that they will not say I am the one who did this out of fear of the unknown, fear for the august, hypocrisy of the highest order. But when we begin to stand for what is the truth, all of these fears will be allayed. It's just that we are not trying to be honest to ourselves. That's the problem, and that's where the fear is.
All right, Emmanuel, state police, with all this, bill, the condition, the clause to clause, and all that the House of Rep is doing to ensure that it's not totally, or it's not controlled by those in power. Are you convinced that it's going to work, the removal of the president governor from National Peace Council and the banning of governors from controlling police commission?
The members of the House of Representatives, let me say the National Assembly, particularly the members of the House of Reps, are not sincere. They are playing politics with the passage of this bill, and I'll tell you why. At the National Assembly, at the Senate, 109 of them, about 70 will go back home. Who are the people responsible for their going back home? Governors. At the House of Reps, out of 360, over 200 of them will not return. Who are the people responsible? Governors, because of the absolute political power given to them by Mr. President to say the governor is the political leader of the state. So it came with a consensus arrangement. So most of them are trying to fight back the governors who have messed them up. So that is why they are trying to put unnecessary safeguard. Now, one of the reasons why we are clamoring for state police is because we need a decentralized policing system that is closer to the people. But if you overregulate that police, it will serve no purpose. Now, let me paint a picture for you. You are a man. You give birth to a child. You pay the child's school fees. You take care of the child. You feed the child. You do a lot of the child. And you do a lot. But you cannot send the child on an errand. It does not make sense. And that is the truth. And that's why I aligned fully with the veteran on this. It does not make sense. However, now let me paint a second picture from the same scenario. You now send that child on errands that are not maybe morally upright. Say, for instance, go and buy beer for me. And that is where the checks and balances should now come in to say, this is a minor, you can't send them this kind of errand. There's no way you would ask governors to set up, legislate, set up the system, employ people, pay, buy equipment, buy uniforms, pay their salaries, and you will now tell them they will have zero form of control over them. It does not make sense. Now, however, what we should rather ingrain, and that is why I appreciate the maturity of the Senate, is that we won't put the direct funding under you. We put it in direct first line charge.
Yes.
As your FAC is coming, they will remove that of the police, pay to them, and you come. They have also now said the leadership of it. How do they come? They draw up a system, and that makes more sense. But if you put too much guardrails, if I am a governor and you put too much guardrails, it's very simple. I'll just let you be. Then go and do it yourself. So we need to be careful so that we don't create more problems because we are trying to solve the problem of insecurity. For crying out loud, you are telling us that governors can use state police for elections. INEC guideline says that all of these officers are not involved in election coverage, only the Nigerian police force. These are the things we should go back to and enact and ensure that only the Nigerian police force is involved with the election. For crying out loud, even the military, they are not involved in elections. They put them a distance away from polling units. So what we should also build is a state judiciary where cases are heard on the merits of them, where I am an opposition person, but I am assured that when I get to court, I will get justice. Yes. Now, you are saying don't let governors control state police. Don't they control state judiciary? Don't they control who becomes what in the state judiciary system? So what difference will it make? It's just a matter of, okay, you've not given me control of state police, and I want you behind bars. I'll file trumped up charges against you and ensure the case gets to my judge or my lawyer, who will give you a bill that you cannot meet, and you'll be there perpetually. It's very simple. So we need a cleansing of our system rather than put unnecessary guardrails. And that's the word to use for it, guardrails. The House of Reps, yes, and there's also another issue there. The minority will say they walk out. That's the thing about democracy. Minority will have their say,
yes,
but majority will have their way. But it calls to question the fabric and the nature of our democracy. If we have an House of Representatives of 360 people, and the people who call themselves minority are 15, that means that it is a one-man direction, a head, a mob.
They don't even have
the House of Reps. They don't have a voice. And that is the thing with the progressive today. Many of them are not happy with what is happening. I can tell you that within the ranks of the members of the House of Reps who aligned and passed this thing without doing the clause-by-clause check, some of them are not happy, but because our party says. So you put loyalty to your party ahead of loyalty to your country. No. Loyalty to the Constitution of Nigeria, loyalty to Nigeria should come first before party. And these are issues we should look at.
Those are issues we should look at, and definitely the bill is still, accelerating a lot of, analysis and talk about talks from Nigerians, and we believe that a lot is still will need to be done, and also it's going to be done because it's still going to pass through the Senate. There are still going to be meetings before it gets to the president. Let's move to the next one. 2027 political activities intensify despite INEC timetable, and INEC helpless as early campaigns throughout Electoral Act fairness rules, and parties are beginning to have mobilization. Parties campaign under guise of consultation, stakeholders engagement, stakeholders prolong campaigns, erode fairness, and some people are saying that INEC's failure to enforce rule reflects accountability collapse. Now, this is a major. We know that next month, campaign will start officially.
It should start this year.
But
it should start by September.
I think yeah. So
the next 1 month or two.
So, but looking at this, but a lot of people are concerned that a lot of people, politicians are already engaging, saying they are consulting, stakeholders engagement, consultations, all in the name of disguising as as consultation, but it's in itself a campaign. Now, some people are also saying that INEC is not being fair with its rules. What do you take out of all this? Do you think we should now jettison or not allow politicians to have stakeholders meeting, engage with people or party members and all, because technically there is no way when you have a rule. I believe there is going to be exceptions and some technicalities to it that politicians or Nigerians will want to explore. Is it what we are having in all this?
The moderation of the polity along this path by INEC has not been fair. It has not been the way it ought to be. From what we have seen, both First and Second Republic, reasonably they have not done well, I must say, because probably they are kept off guard or they don't know what to do. Because it is not when the heat is on now, when the time is ticking, they now say they are campaigning. I tell you, it has never been like this in terms of a major elections ahead for party not to have settled the case of who and who will be their candidates, who are the parties that we are contesting. It is not even good for the electorate. The moderation has been too poor, so to say. Because long before now, what I know is that after election, every form of campaign ceased. It is governments that follow. But you and I know, since the swearing in May 29 up to now, most things have been put under the guise of opposition, campaigning, whereas we still have years ahead. Now, the time for campaign is they are choked up already with candidates, with aspiring candidates, not even too sure whether they have been recognized by INEC. I think we
still had a case yesterday of a particular party court saying that a particular candidate is the authentic candidate, while a particular aspirant is the authentic candidate against, and I don't know whether INEC will have to change or something. I don't know the name there. So this is
and there has been a closure for the change of, for the submission of candidates.
Apparently, INEC would.
So, and the Constitution has given much more power to INEC. Forget about Electoral Act. The Nigerian Constitution has given INEC the power to conduct, to organize, and to supervise election, which no other agency had ever been given in Nigeria. So they have the overall, and that was why to people who are very vast in the knowledge of electioneering, they need to, when some people are taking INEC to court over this Electoral Act, over the INEC timetable, they know that they will not jail. But however, because people need to get to the electorate, some, maybe one or two, or probably because of the privilege of being the ruling party, in a way, they have been having a way of reaching out to the electorate, but you can't say that to other parties. And that is why it looks as if, I don't know how INEC will want to do this, because it has to be sensitive. Yeah, it has to put its thinking cap more in doing the moderation as it ought to be, but it's almost a failure now, because campaign is always, full campaign is always now, maybe by August or September, campaign should begin, because it should be 6 months before the election. And election is coming up in January 28th.
All right, Emmanuel, looking at all this, some are already having empowerment program, giving people, maybe party members, non-party members, sharing things. And some people are saying that it's not possible, non-official, that it's a campaign in its own. But looking at all this, is INEC playing its role? Some are saying that accountability collapse is already what they are saying from INEC. And do you also think, think that INEC is playing its role effectively, ensuring that everybody stick to the rule that no campaign until according to what the timetable stipulates?
Now, I don't envy INEC, and I'd like us to cut them a little bit of slack. Yes, we've been preaching institutional reforms and institutional independence, but INEC is not independent. So if INEC is not independent, you don't expect them to do anything against their proprietor. I use proprietor. I use proprietor and sponsor. Very good word for this instance. Now, it's a matter of semantics, because I've had the opportunity to interview INEC top officials, and I asked the question, people are campaigning, and they said, no, people are not campaigning. I said, really, what about these billboards? They said the politicians have found a way to use semantics to beat them. So that you see support, you won't see vote for. And it took me, I started looking at billboards too, and very few of them will be caught in that web of vote for. You see support, you see one group celebrates or congratulates on the emergence, you see some, you even see a picture and you see the name and you see Governor of the state plus you see plus. So the politicians have crafted a way to beat the system. Now, the provisions of the Electoral Act gives INEC the power to drag anybody to court on this. But in the real sense of it, it is not actionable. Actionable for many reasons. Number one is that they'll hide under semantics. Number two is that INEC does not even have the capacity as of now. INEC last year, 2023 last election, drowned in legal expenses. So they don't want to self-orchestrate any means that will take them to court. You will see that the only issues they have been appealing recently are issues that they want an expedited appeal because they don't even have the capacity to do it. And right now they are also preparing for more legal lawsuits to come. Once campaigns start, you see a lot of pre-election issues that INEC will be copied in the case. So they are avoiding anything legal as of now. So sadly, their proprietor or the father, the president, and the ruling party are the ones who started the perpetration of this. So it becomes very difficult. It becomes really, really difficult. Now, what they have, however, done is that since they have looked away on opposition, on the ruling party, they have also looked away on opposition. It would have been a different ball game if they now say they want to do partial enforcement and start going after opposition. That's why you see they have left everybody. You people don't want to hear, so be it. So it is unfortunate, but that is the situation that we are found. So, and I don't envy INEC, because their matter is the common word. I don't want to use a dirty word. I'll use blamed if you do, blamed if you don't. And that's the situation for INEC. Well, so it falls back to our political class. We are going into a game, into a contest, abide by the rules. But they've made it clear over the period that these people don't care about rules. Yes, we made the rules, but we don't care about it. Some of them will say, I've heard instances where people say, rules are like this, you can break it to go in or bend it. And after you have gone through, you stretch it back. So that's what they're doing to our rules.
Well, maybe what the thought that came to my mind is maybe they can always have a line where they can find some of these, political parties.
In this case, even it is the ruling party that you it's most.
Even yes, it's an avenue to make money for INEC.
Okay, so you think INEC can find President Tinubu? Where President Tinubu will tell you he did not erect the posters and he didn't know who erected them.
Well, that's another thing.
Or you think INEC will find the people who...
Such issue has been raised in Lagos. Have you forgotten?
Yes,
in Lagos,
the budget of
raised
INEC,
in Lagos
the budget
concerning
of
some billboards.
Is before the National Assembly. And you think INEC will find those same people?
Well, because of our time, let's quickly look at the last one, NBA election. There have been a lot of talks on this. There's controversy about the emergence of the new NBA national president, and part of the controversy has been on issue of zoning, alleged exclusion of candidates, issue of low turnout, claim of external interference. we have to look at this one. If you know, quickly because of our time, what were you able to see from all this? The election was this week again, and what really, looking at it, how do you put all some of these claims together, and what comes to mind?
With the little I've been able to, follow up in terms of the process of leading to the election before Sunday, because the election actually started on Sunday midnight up till Monday morning for Mrs. Oyin Consola Badejo Okusoya to have emerged as the 33rd national president of NBA. It was not palatable. Events leading to the election had somehow blamed the current national executive as being capable of working out an already answered election results that they are planning, but allegedly, so to say. I want to say this. It is unfortunate that this woman will be the second national president of NBA since Mrs. Priscilla Akuye of Oyo State emerged in 1991 and 92, when our the former minister was who was holding forth was appointed a minister during the Babangida regime. However, the issue of zoning does not come in, because zoning has always been part of the arrangement within the NBA elections. But what failed them is what you begin to see concerning the Nigerian environment. You begin to wonder, who do you now run to? The people that you see as the managers of rule of law, the people that you see as the last bastion of the society to run to when problems are happening. And you see them at the front as front runners in human rights activities in the country, and you see them the major critic. Yet they can't run their election. Out of 82,000 plus financial members that ought to take part in the election, only 26,000, about 31.something%, were able to do that election, just because of what they adduce as an alleged formation or process rigging via the system that the current national executive use. I don't know how they want to come out of this, because it's a total mess for the NBA. To me, for me, they don't even have a voice to even criticize others. It's an institutional failure, which the Nigerian public have been experiencing in many institutions. And it goes further. In a year that Nigeria is even looking for a credible election, an institution that should be the vanguard of credible election in Nigeria could not even conduct its own election for 82,000 people, plus people. It's a shame.
Well, Emmanuel, in 1 minute, quickly, in 30 seconds.
Femi Falana was in Abeokuta yesterday, and he said something simple. He said INEC, he said NBA has lost its right to be part of election observation in Nigeria because of what it has done. However, the reality on ground is that the NBA election is a reflection of the Nigerian election. There is this popular cause, mass media and the society, the media, just like the legal system, is a function of the society we live in. So you don't expect the NBA within a society where INEC is doing elections and the kind of elections we're doing to do something different. It also raises the question of technology as being a major issue. Glitches here and there. INEC had glitches, which they say they have been resolved.
Could be planned.
WIAC and JAM had glitches, so you don't expect NBA not to have glitches. So it's no big deal. Congratulations to the woman, and we wish her the best.
All right, she's already saying that if after investigation it's discovered that there are one issue there, and
she will step down. Just like
as Yaradua said, my election was flawed.
Well, she stepped down.
Well, we wish her best of luck until then. Thank you, guys.
Before we go, I want to congratulate Spain for winning the.
Oh, okay.
They said it here that they will win. If the naysayers says no, Argentina.
You said they will win. All right, that's the show. Thank you for coming, Manuel. Okay, and that's the show for this week. Enjoy the rest of the day. Enjoy your weekend. Bye for now.